Hi folks, welcome to the CANTRAK Return Loop 40. This video is going to be a little bit different because I didn't actually film anything, but I do have some still pictures. I'm going to talk you through those. Here you can kind of see in the background a couple of tunnels, and the plan was to make them removable. But over time we've decided not to do that, and the markers you see are how high various portions of this tunnel can be. Here you can see the planning that I'm doing, where there's a spot for a potential trailer park, a town, how the road may go in around here. This is all early planning just to try and get an idea of what may or may not work. Don't know whether to put a town in at this point or whether I want a forest or whatever. But again, initial planning, and these foam removable parts will go. And here's a bit more detail on the area that I have. You can see the area can be up to 7 inches, but it really needs to be a little bit lower. And instead of a tunnel coming out, it's going to be a cut and a bridge or a cut or cross before the tunnel ends. Just some planning. I put this together, send it out to members, and get feedback as to what they think might or might not work here. Now I've removed the removable tunnel pieces, tossed them, and here's the actual tunnel itself that I'm building, and then I'm going to build rocks all the way around it. In the foreground there you can see there's an access point that I've built in. And this is just using white styrofoam in the front and the back in order to get everything, at the right height. And after building that top, it was just laid on. I removed it. I've now put some paper towel down so that I can paint the inside, because I want the inside of this all black. I bent that styrofoam in the leading edge just by scoring it every 4 inches or so, and then was able to just bend it around. So that was pretty easy to do. I went out and bought some tunnel portals, but the tunnel portals need to adhere to something, and so I cut out just some foam tunnel portals, put them in place, and painted them black. And you can see here how the inside's all painted black as well. The outside isn't going to matter because we're going to put plaster cloth and Sculptamold and stuff all over that. But this shows the interior. The overhead shot shows that the interior is all painted with black paint now, which will help when people look into the tunnel. It should be nice and dark in there. As you'll see, I do end up adding lights in later, but at this point all I've got is interior painted black, and you can see there's 3 separate access points so that people can reach their hands in from the back and pick out derailed trains or do track cleaning. After painting the interior, you can see there's still a little bit of paper towel there. I'm fitting this final black stuff on top, making sure everything will fit. And the other thing that I'm doing here is installing some LED lights under it. I don't have a picture of the install of the LED lights, but they're just stick-on ones, and I apply a little bit of glue as well to make sure everything will hold well. In order to make sure that we can see what's going on in the tunnel, I've installed lights. Here's the little on-off switch. There's also a potentiometer there. That will allow us to turn the lights on, but if we want to, we can put them really dim, and so the viewing public can kind of see into the tunnel, or we can just turn it off so there's nothing. But when we need to see, we can turn the intensity up and see what's going on inside. One of the big issues is making sure the portals are large enough for the larger trains to fit through. Here's a couple of double stacks, one on each track, and a couple of really long cars. One's a car hopper, the other just a long box car. And you can see how close they are to that roundhouse. I didn't realize they were that close to the roundhouse even. But I used these for testing to make sure they'll fit through tunnel portals. and then foam was put around the outside, same height as the tunnel itself. This allows us to put, in this case, some foam across, spanning the gap, and we'll leave it hollow there. And then on top of that, we can ball up paper, and then on top of that, put in plaster cloth and create the actual mountains. This is the exit of the tunnel. You can see it's a big cut. I tried to use a torch in order to torch the inside of the foam to bring texture to it. Doesn't really do what I want it to do. And over time I found that I'm just going to use plaster cloth over this, or sculpt a mold, or whatever. So it was something that I tried. It may work in some instances, but wasn't great in this. Then it was time to cut foam and just put it right on the edge, and as you can see, just over the edge of the tunnel itself, leaving everything else inside hollow. These things have to be these tables have to be lugged around, so we want to make sure that we try and keep it light, although plaster cloth and sculpt a mold on top is certainly going to add some weight, but we'll be able to manage. The far side has been done as well. You can't see too well, but there's a bit of a drop there where the cut goes. So the plan is to, again, if you remember back earlier, put a trailer park in there if I can, or maybe it'll be a meadow, who knows by the time we're done. This is all, somewhat planned, but it's going to evolve as we start to actually do stuff. The back side has the two access points, as you can see. The middle, there's a small piece of foam there that's colored colored black, and the rest of it's the blue foam off to the right. You can kind of see the depression, but this is the back view of it. This shows the cut a whole bunch better, and also the layering that's happening from the full size. It drops down a little bit there. You can see the blue foam and then the white foam. That blue foam area is where I'm figuring on putting in the trailer park, assuming that a trailer park does go in. We'll have to wait and see over time. As I showed in planning, we are limited to how high it can go, but it can go a little bit higher than just where the top of the tunnel was, and that's what this next layer of foam does, is it brings up the back a little bit higher. The concept will be the mountain will slope up to that area and give us a little bit more height in the back. I thought maybe it'd be more, but we've got to work with what. This is testing whether the cars will go in or not. The tunnel portal that I bought is in place there. It's just held in with friction. And we're just making sure that the cars will clear. Now in real life, sometimes the corners of the portal are carved out a little bit. So if we have to do that in order to get these guys to fit, that'll be okay. It'll be just kind of like what happens in real life. And here's the other end. I don't have the actual portal there, but you can see the opening for the portal, and the cars are fitting through fine that way, which means it should fit through in the portal. There's not a lot of room on the portal though, so we're going to have to be careful on how we place this stuff together. But from a planning perspective, this shows what we're doing. And this is pretty much how it was left in the last video you would have seen. This here has all been done through here. Some scenery's been added through here. But again, this module is pretty much done now. The one that's being worked on is table 3 back here, which, as you can see, has a tunnel going around here, and then has this foam up here, and the plan is to do some mountains in there. This is the table that's been worked on the most recently. You can see how there's a tunnel that goes along here. That's the inside of it. This here has been raised up to the maximum height allowable because this table fits with the other one over here and they go together, and there's only a certain amount of space available that's dictated by the end plates that come up like that. And then the other module fits, of course, in here, and that means this can only be this high. It could probably be about an inch higher. In order to do this, I just hot glued all these foam pieces in. For fun, I tried to torch this to make it a little different. The plan is to use balled up newspaper. So what will happen going forward is I've got some scrap paper here, and you just take it and you do this with it, and you start putting it in. Now I know in this case I want to do kind of a contour in here, so we just ball this up. This is just for demo purposes at this point. That way and contour it down. Or I may choose to put a rock face in part of it and leave it more sheer. Been a couple of different thoughts about what's going to go on in here. This current diagram shows kind of a pond in here and stuff, but I think what we really want to do is put a bit of a town. So this road will continue the road through here, and it will have to figure out how best to do this, but it may do kind of a shape through the town here and come back here, elevate up, go across a bridge here, and this area I want to put in a little trailer park up in here, and it'll be a little bit lowered section. So we get a bridge across here and a trailer park. The next step will be to go ahead and start doing the mountain and figuring that out. The road will be a later step. The other thing, of course, with this is how do you access your derailed trains, because we know that trains are going to derail for one reason or another. They go through and whatever. And so what's built in here, I don't know if you can see through here or not. Well, yeah, you can kind of see through the tunnel there. There's a cutout here. So the cutout here allows me to reach into either side. And then there's more of a cutout here that also allows me to reach in for the other side. So if we come around here and you look through here, you can see that goes straight back to the cutout there. So we can reach in here, and we can reach in coming from the back. So if I'm coming from the back here, I can reach in, well, my arms aren't long enough, but when I'm standing over on that other side there, I can reach all the way through to here. So even though I'm going to put a bridge in here, that shouldn't affect things. If I want to reach in, you can see I can get all the way through there. Really fat fingers may only be able to get to here, but we'll see what that looks like. I'll do another video that shows all the various buildings, because there's a building that goes here that you would have seen before. Two buildings that go here. This parking lot's nicely finished. Another coaling tower that goes here, and we put a water tower in here or somewhere in there. These here, the roof can go on there. Some of the buildings are lit. And that's it for that update. Join me next time where I will, I think, start building some mountains in there, and I'll show you how that's done. Yeah, doing all this was pretty easy. What I did is I took white styrofoam, because it's the lightest and thinnest I have. I scored it on the inside so I could bend it around, so it's all nicely bent around, and then I just hot glued it down. And then I did the same on the outside of the track, except I only had a couple of sections because I needed the opening there. Then this here is just black foam board that I cut out in strips that are up to 6-8 inches long and cut them out. I do have lights in here, and the lights I glued on the inside, and then just glued this down to here. After doing that, I glued in a perimeter foam board, and then I glued in the flat one here. So in fact, underneath here and here and here, it's all hollow underneath there. So if you want to store stuff in there, you could. Remember, this is a portable module. We want to keep it light, so it's hollow under all of these areas. And then built this up to here. The other step will be to do some carving here. You don't want just a straight line along here. You want it to have a bit more rolling and some peaks. As I say, this section right here I've already checked, and it goes over where the roundhouse is, so it can't go any higher than maybe about to here. So I have to be careful in doing any building there. So I'm thinking I'm going to do kind of a ravine down there, and then fill the rest of that out. So all this stuff hot glued, went through a whole bunch of hot glue. Now I'm going to go through a bunch of plaster cloth when I get it.